Hi folks, welcome to this example on binomial distribution. And so in this video, we're going to take a look at an example and we're going to figure out how to use technology so that we don't have to do all of the computations, okay? So in this example, we have about 32 students participate in a community volunteer program outside of school. So one clue here that we have that this is a binomial distribution is that either the students participate in this volunteer program or they don't, right? And so we can think about that as our success and our failure. So do they participate? Yes or no? And if it's yes, that is what we consider success. And we're saying that that success percentage is 0.32, okay? So in other words, we can say P equals 0.32, okay? Now, that means that if 32% of the students participate in this community volunteer program outside of school, then it must mean that 100 minus that 32% or 0.68, those are that's the percentage that do not participate, okay? So we're saying here that 30 students are selected at random, and we want to find the probability that at most 14 of them participate in the community volunteer program, okay? And so I'm going to switch screens in a little bit, but before I get there, I want to sort of write down like what it is that we're looking for. Okay, so we're looking for the probability that the number of students that we choose is at most 14. So that means it has to be less than or equal to 14. Okay. Now, one thing that I always like to write in here, and not all the textbooks do, and you certainly don't have to, I like to write down what my sample size is. So I know that we're looking at 30 students selected at random. So I'm going to write n equals 30, okay? And what this means here is like x is less than or equal to 14 means like if I find a 0 students that participate, great. 1 student that participates, great. 2 students, fine. But 15 students, that's too many, okay? And so what we're really looking for here is the probability of each of those that are less than or equal to 14 all added together, okay? Now there is a formula for calculating the binomial distribution. But for this formula, all right, so we've got n choose x. So n being the number of sample items that we have, x being what we're choosing, and that's p to the x, q to the n minus x, okay? And we could do all these computations, but you know what's better than us doing it is getting StatCrunch to do it for us, okay? But it is important that we can understand what it is that we're trying to find, okay? So let me switch screens for a moment and go to StatCrunch. And hopefully you are all masters at logging into StatCrunch by now. I'm going to go ahead and open StatCrunch here. Okay, now we don't need any data. We're just here to use the calculator for binomial distribution, okay? So we're gonna go to stat, then we're gonna go to calculators. There's a lot of different ones here, but we're just gonna go to the second one. We're gonna go to binomial. All right, and so up pops this screen here. And it just has some numbers that are sort of already in it, but we need to fill it in with the numbers that we want for our question, okay? So if you look back at the question, our question said that we had 30 students. And so down here where it says N, I'm going to change that to 30. We also knew that our success percentage was 32%, or P is 0.32, okay? And if you look here, we have X is less than or equal to, so I'm just going to change that 5 to a 14 because we wanted to know the probability that at most 14 students participated. And now I'm going to click compute. And you'll notice that we've got a bunch of bars here. Some of them are red and some of them are black. And that's actually important, okay? So on the bottom, we should see like 0 all the way to 20. And if you'll see that this last red bar, that's actually at 14. Okay, so all of these bars represent the probability that you'll find a student, that whatever that X value is, number of students that participate. Okay, so you can see some of these bars are shorter, some of them are longer, but if we add up all of these bar heights, we're going to get 0.9695. Okay, and that is our probability that at most 14 students participate in this community volunteer program. Okay, so that's how we find it. Now let's say that the question changed, because you know my open math likes to give you different things to look at, and said, find the probability that we find exactly 14 students that participate. Well, I can click on this one and I can change it to an equal sign. And that will just give me the bar that corresponds to the probability of getting 14 students exactly, okay? So I'm going to click equals, and you'll notice there's just one red bar, and that one has a height of 0.0358. And so that is our probability of getting just exactly 14 students that participate, okay? All right, so that's how you can use StatCrunch to help you out. You don't need to use any of those formulas, but you do need to understand what you're looking for, okay? All right, come on back. I'll do another example in a different video. See you then.